If you are a competitive athlete, you need to listen to Mal O'Brien. No matter what level you compete at, even if it's like low level scale comps, this is important. If you're new here, my name's Beth and I make commentary content around CrossFit, hybrid training, functional training, and trends within the wider fitness space. I've struggled with EDs and mental health, so I come at it from that kind of angle. Mal chose Brian Friend for this interview and I love that she did. I've known of him for a long time, but I actually love this podcast and how he treated her, how he gave a safe space for her to show up, and it really shows with how comfortable she felt talking about these really difficult topics.
Try not to cry right now.
I cried on here like yesterday, I think it was, so we're okay.
This is the treatment of athletes that I want to see more of. This is what they deserve. Mal hasn't spoken much about why she left CrossFit other than trying to prioritise her well-being, but in this, she spoke a lot more about it. Competing and training had become her whole entire life.
Every day was like, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. I was so close, and like that's just the feeling I had. So every single training session, the littlest thing could go wrong and it's sending me for a spiral for the rest of the day.
And she felt like she didn't know who she was without it. This is actually really common in athletes, and a lot of people, when they leave the sport, they really struggle to find what they like and what they enjoy outside of sport, because sport can be so all-consuming. Mal felt a lot of pressure and expectations from the CrossFit community. She felt like in the year before she decided to quit that she was hating training and it was all just working on weaknesses and all that mattered was winning.
Doing the open, and like not a lot has like improved mentally. Even if you couldn't see, like if I looked fine on the outside, I probably wasn't. It was just, I think I had put so much like pressure on myself.
She was putting that pressure on herself, and she actually said that Matt and the rest of the Hard Work Pays Off team were encouraging her to take holidays.
Matt and Sammy had called me and they were like, hey, we're going to Hawaii for 2 weeks in January, we want you to come with. Like, I was like, what about training?
And that she really struggled to do that, and they were encouraging her to take a break. When you're really into something and you really value winning over everything else, it's easy to get stuck into this hyper focus, and that is something that I did. I am a very competitive person. I've done sports of some sort pretty much all my life, and it's only in the last 7 years that I found CrossFit, but I've done athletics, netball, hockey, lots of team sports and individual sports, and I've competed in most of them. When you're that kind of person and you find it easy to slip into this mentality of just striving to be your absolute best at something and working relentlessly towards that, which I can see from Mal, she's definitely one of those people. It's really easy to get so wrapped up in that and so valued by how well that you do in those sports that you forget to have fun while you're doing it. You become so hyper focused on a goal that everything else goes out the window, and you can forget about your mental health and your physical health and your well-being generally. When I was fully competing in CrossFit, and one year I literally did, I think, 13 competitions and podiumed like 11 of them, which is a ridiculous amount of competitions to do. Why did I ever do that? I have no idea. But I did really well. But even standing on the podium in first place, I still felt bad about myself. I'd done really well, but I still had so many things to focus on, and I would only focus on the negative things and the things that I needed to improve. I would berate myself and tell myself how shit I was at gymnastics or something else that came up in the competition that I was frustrated about. And it sounds like Mal was doing a similar thing. I think even the year that she came second, she said that she was still really annoyed at herself. And this level is a way higher level than any of us can even imagine getting to. And this toll that it could take on somebody so young, somebody in their 20s, could be really serious. But it's absolutely amazing that Mal has had the self-awareness to pull herself out of this sport at the point where it was really damaging her mental health.
If you would have told me that in 2021 that I'd be here right now, I would be like, you're lying. And then after those months passed, it was just learning new hobbies and doing kid things. I was like texting my friends and I was like, so what do you guys do? Like, let's go do it on a random Tuesday because I got time.
I massively related to her in the segment where she was talking about finding new hobbies and figuring out what she loves again.
I think the first things I started doing were like things I knew I loved, like baking, fishing, being outside.
Fishing. Does that go back to childhood stuff?
Going with my dad a few times, but it is just pretty therapeutic. It's fun to do. That's a lot of stuff I did over the summer. I like learned how to make bread and bagels and stuff, and that was so much fun. I love doing that. I do that once or twice a week.
Because having been obsessed with sport for my entire life and also work, I really struggle to rest or find any enjoyment outside of these serious life goals that I have. It's only up until recently I found my love for baking and gardening and reading and just doing normal person things. And Mal said something very similar. She just started meeting up with people of her age and figuring out what they do and figuring out what life looks like for somebody of her age that isn't a competitive CrossFit Games athlete. There's so much more to life than fitness, and just because other people think you should be the best in the world and that you should beat Tia and be on the podium, it doesn't mean that you have to chase that. It's incredible that Mal is able to say no to that and back out, because the pressure to stay in the sport and to achieve her potential must be so high. And you definitely heard that in some of her responses. She knows how many people out there want her to do so well, but she seems happy now, and it's honestly so inspiring to hear from someone like her, and she will be such an inspiration for the next generation of CrossFitters. If somebody like Mal can take a step back from the sport, even being at the absolute top of the game, and prioritise her health and well-being, then a person that's at a lower level like me could definitely do it. And if you feel like you've put so much pressure on yourself coming out of the other side of the open, try and remember what Mal said, and please watch the whole video as well, because she is amazing. The way Brian interviews is incredible, and I really hope we get to see more athletes go on his podcast, because his compassion and understanding and creating like a safe space for these athletes to talk is exactly what we need within CrossFit. But if you feel a little bit stuck with your CrossFit journey and you feel like you're dealing with that comparison and it's having an impact on your well-being, then definitely go and have a listen to Mal, because she has got some important things to say, because that will make you feel so much better. Your well-being should come first. Mal also mentioned in this interview that she's been doing some high rocks training.
I'm still like lifting, squatting, doing some bodybuilding, still doing like sculpt classes and some high rock stuff.
And there has been some speculation that she might go into high rocks. She's doing a lot more running and just finding joy in lots of different kinds of training methodologies. And I'm a big fan of high rocks. I've done a high rocks pro myself, but it's something I would really love to see. And high rocks can be more accessible because it's literally only 2 hours at the most. It's a different style of competition. But the thing is, high rocks is absolutely selling out, and in some ways it's definitely surpassing CrossFit. And it's left me wondering, what can CrossFit learn from the success of high rocks? What is high rocks doing that's helping them grow that CrossFit isn't? If you're interested in that, then watch this video next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!